What's up, everybody? It is the Pregame Show Network. I am Tolly Carr, joined now by our favorite uncle, Uncle Neely, Jackson, Mississippi. Neely, I was reading just today, a big online platform. We don't have to freely, because we were in the article and they didn't even give us a backlink. So anyway, this big network that you would recognize. They had this article about the tumultuous year in Colorado, a complete timeline. So the headline suggested, well, man, things were just falling apart day by day, month by month. This ginormous snowball of ill repute there in Boulder. And so I just read it to get the energy that was in there. And, look, I'm in the internet game. I know how it is. You got to hook them in. We're at a point in American society, you have to trick people to read. I get that. I don't take issue with the practice. But the article just outlined, like, things that are happening. I mean, it had Shador and Shiloh in the Louis fashion show, just everything that's happened. So, the steak and the sizzle didn't quite match up. But there has been, this overall kind of, man, the portal, oh man, Colorado, oh, it's just falling apart, right? But Neely, when you look at the true headlines of what's happening, we have a player from Georgia that's suing the University of Florida because he said, y'all promised me $14 million and you gave me $150,000 and I'm gonna need my money. You're gonna need to run me my money. So a lawsuit. We're at the point in NIL now where players are suing you if you do not deliver on what you said you were going to deliver, allegedly. Neely, there may be volume. Colorado might have more people in the portal than others if you do the numbers. They don't have the most. But where we are right now, the epicenter of, man, this thing is out of control, is not in Boulder.
Absolutely not. When you look at what is taking place in Boulder since Coach Prime's arrival, people will try to say and point the finger that it is a poor example, bad example of what the portal does and the management of the portal. But the facts bear out just the opposite. Coach Prime inherited a 1-11 team. He flipped that roster by some 80%, brought players in that could help turn the program around, increased the wins by 400%, much more competitive in ball games. And now this year there was less of it because he has so much of what he needs in place that you had about some 30 to 40 leave out through the portal. And everybody who was making a big deal about it, we were the only program in the nation where they were counting walk-ons against us. Other programs, walk-ons go and come as they please, but they get reported in Colorado as if they were starters or major contributors. Having said that, when you look at the data, Colorado is not in the top one, not in the top five of scholarship players to leave their program. And by far, Coach Prime has done the best job in replacing that talent that has left and upgrading it. Every position that is chosen to hit the portal, every player has been replaced by someone with more playing experience and more stats to their name than the person that departed. If that is an example of the portal failing a program, I hope we keep failing. And because that is how you win games, you have to replace current talent with better talent. And that's what Coach Prime has done via the portal. As far as this player suing his former school because of some commitment default, Tolly, I think that's going to happen in the future frequently. We're in this situation with NIL and collectives, but you're still in a spot where there's no such thing as pay for play. And so one side of the equation, young people can get paid and enticed to come to a university, but there is nothing required for them that they get 4 touchdowns a game or do this, that, and the other. And at some point, man, in the free market system and capitalism and economy, people are going to want what they paid for. They're going to want to get, what they were promised out of somebody. And so what you see in this case is a player suing a school because he didn't get what he's promised. Not only, I think, Tolly, is that going to continue and grow, I think the other side is going to grow. You're going to have institutions, boosters, collectives, LLCs, whatever they may be formed as, going after players to recoup funds because they didn't get what they were promised either.
At what point do you think we'll see a correction of the market? Because no matter what industry there is, Neely, the market always seems to correct itself, especially during a time of change. especially a seminal moment like this with name, image, and likeness. And a lot of times the market will overcorrect itself. If you just had to guess, we're just shooting the breeze here. How far along do you think it'll be before we see some level of market correction with this?
I would say season 25, season 26. Certainly so to be in place before you start football 27. I think we're still learning right now, having one true season with NIL and collectives, and some of the problems are rearing their head. I think Coach Saban in Alabama saw these things coming, which is why he checked out a little sooner than people thought. The most famous, most storied program in college football history, success-wise, and he saw what was coming. But 50 years ago, Eddie Robinson said what was coming if we went down this road. And I think here we are, and there's going to have to be some course correction to it. I think the NCAA is in a position where they're going to settle this lawsuit, which is going to go back and play previous paid players who did not get the opportunity to get paid some funds. But I think part of that is going to have to be a cap at some point, too. If you just have a system where whoever can raise the most money can buy the most players, that's going to starve out a lot of institutions and create just a downfall of programs across the country. So I think at some point there's going to be a cap, much like you have in the NFL, a salary cap. I think there's going to be a cap on NIL and collectives and what you can do for a player per year, per 4 years, something of that nature. But of course, correction is imminent, whether it is NCAA driven or even congressional driven. It's going to have to happen to preserve the system, because you're already on a path, Tolly, that you're down to a power four. And with all the TV money and streaming money out there, you could easily get down to a power two before you know it. And you got the All-State West versus the State Farm East, and about 30 teams in each one of them, and the rest, good luck to you.
Well, Neely, if smart people can mess up Red Lobster and those cheddar biscuits, they can mess up college football too. So I am absolutely on board that we do need some course correction here before it gets too far down the road.
But Tolly, great example, because one of the things that Red Lobster failed to do is when they announced this big deal on these free shrimp on certain days of the week, they failed to realize how many people were going to go after something that was free. And it's the same thing here. Right now, you got free money that, hey, I will pay you this to come here, and there's no carrot on the stick that you actually have to perform to get it. Just come. That's not the way America works, man. At some point, what you pay for in exchange of goods or services has to equate. A gallon of milk represents the cost of production, getting it to the shelf, the milk, the cow, the farmer's profit. You can't just willy-nilly throw a price on it. And that's what you have taking place in college athletics right now. NIL and collectives are just putting a price on something, and highest bidder wins. Not a sustainable system going forward. I believe course correction is imminent.
Yeah, and at Red Lobster, one of their stakeholders was a shrimp company. So they were doing them a solid, like, hey, we're going to have endless shrimp. You're our shrimp vendor. This is a win-win. And then Neely showed up. And then I showed up. And now they're closing Red Lobsters. So, who could have saw that coming? But back to the discussion at hand. And with the transfer portal, people like to present it one way when it benefits them, and then just the other way when they want to tear down a program or a school that they're rooting against. Neely, Dabo Swinney from Clemson went on the record, and Dabo always speaks what's on his mind, and generally gets to say it without a lot of repercussions, if you will. And I think Dabo, head coach at Clemson, broke down the transfer portal like this. He was like, there's kids that cannot play for us. Like, they're not good enough to play either coming into us, or they really weren't good enough to get any playing time when they were with us. There are kids that are out there just searching and trying to leverage the bag. And then there's the kid who, is just out there. He already knows where he's going, and the transfer portal is just a ruse. Like, he's already figured out where he's going. Neely, I just wish people would be honest about that's the case for everybody, and every school has to deal with players that are not going to get playing time, and they figure that out, and the coaches figured that out, and I think that's the kid that is the ideal person or candidate for the transfer portal. Like, you want to go somewhere where you're going to play. Because if you're not playing where you are, you ain't going to the NFL, right? You can't even play at your school. So you know your career is winding down. So with these 2-3 years I have left, let me go somewhere and enjoy what's left of my athletic career. The people who've already figured out where they're going and it's just a formality, that is what it is. And people who are using it as leverage to get more money wherever they end up, that's part of it too. And I just wish people would keep it honest and keep it real and not try to use the portal as a sword when you're trying to, take down the school that you don't like, because this is a reality for all schools. Those are the three type of kids that you're dealing with, or the three scenarios.
Well, I want to peel a different side of that onion, which could be never ending. Shout out to Dabo Swinney for speaking not only his truth, but the truth as it relates to college football in America today. The issue I have is not what Coach Swinney said, is that when other coaches say it, people get mad. I remember, certain athletes out there speaking out, and somebody told them to shut up and dribble. And much is the same thing with a outspoken coach, confident in what he's saying, like Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. People just want him to shut up and coach. But here's the very thing he's been saying, said by another coach, and people applaud it, because the portal is just that simple. If you're on a team and you get in it, chances are it's because you weren't getting the playing time, the reps there. Translation to that is that you weren't good enough to. And so you're seeking a better opportunity. And I am all for that. I don't knock the portal in that regard. There are other folks in the portal who are trying to leverage their current success for a bigger university to pick them up for a bigger bag. I ain't knocking that either. And of course, there are people who get in the portal who already knowing where they're going before they get in there. I think Dabo Swinney spoke the truth. But when Coach Prime starts off with that, like, hey, that guy left because he wasn't good enough, for our standard, people say, oh, you can't speak ill of kids and can't do that kind of thing. But when coaches fail and get fired because they weren't at the university or the conference standard, nobody says a word. The real deal is, in America, in college football, you have to perform, or you just have to find a new environment. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't have a problem with the portal. I'm a big fan of the portal. And I understand that the portal giveth and it taketh away. And you can't celebrate getting a kid from the portal and then want to, moan and complain when you lose a kid from the portal. It is what it is. That door swings both ways. But the truth is, Tolly, most people get in the portal because of a lack of opportunity where they are. And that lack of opportunity is directly attached to their ability to perform for that team at that level as needed.
So, Neely, with all that being said, I kind of feel like the portal has settled for now. We in summer we might see some new faces or some faces that are just names right now that can have an impact. As we get ready to go into summer conditioning, when you look back on the portal. And the transactional nature of that for this 2024 Colorado football team. How does it sit with you after kind of letting it all settle in?
I think from a fan base, we're getting used to it and more knowledgeable of it. Of course, the past couple of seasons, everyone was like, oh, the portal. I can't believe this is happening, not understanding the nuances of it. But I think it's becoming kind of commonplace now. And I also believe that whereas there's a deadline to get in the portal, and a deadline to get out of it. So you'll still have new people popping up at schools as they transition into August camp, fall camp to get ready for the start of the season. Keep in mind, if you go back to Coach Prime at Jackson State, James Houston, who went on to the Detroit Lions, was coming out of Florida. He wasn't there the whole spring or the first part of summer. He didn't get there until August camp. And so that's the nature of it. You can always still look to bring guys in. I think teams across America will still be doing that, and there's still opportunity. But for the most part, those folks who are still in the portal are quote unquote going to be stuck in the portal. The vast majority of people that get in there probably do not find a place to land, and that's why you have to always be careful how you leave places, because you can't go back to your current school if they'll have you. But I think this portal is becoming more and more commonplace now. People understand the nuances. That is not necessarily a death nail to a program or means something going on in the locker room because you have a group of guys leaving. When you look at programs who are recruiting well and who are replacing talent, you're going to have a lot of people get in the portal because competition got a little stiffer.
Couple things there. You are my brother, because I was right before you said it, I was my next question, because I think only one question ahead of time. I was going to say, Neely, tell them the James Houston story for fans out there that might not have followed the Jackson State story arc, week by week, but you just did that. The underbelly of the portal, Neely, we don't talk about it. I've heard some coaches talk about it. It definitely does not get publicized a lot. It's not a fun thing to consume content-wise. But I would imagine there are work with me now. Let's workshop this hypothesis, Neely. Thousands of kids who have a spot on a football team get into the portal and never play college football again. That thousands, is that too high? Hundreds?
Oh no. Thousands is right on. It's just a matter of is it 2,000 or 3,000. I would say about right now there's probably about 1,600 who went into their portal and their days of playing college football are done. The only caveat that being some of them will land at lower places than they left. They may have thought they were at one level, but the free market did not bear that out. And if they want to play, they're playing somewhere down from where they departed from. The grass just ain't always greener, man. And again, I'm not really speaking necessarily to walk-ons, but it can happen to them as well. But you have to be careful getting in that portal, not knowing where you're going or where you have a chance to go, because you can get stuck in that portal, and you get stuck there too long, your playing days could be over. So I think when you look at a particular season, Tali, it's not far-fetched at all to put 1,000 on that. And if you look at the combined seasons since the portal, you can certainly make it plural and say thousands have played their last football when they got in it.
Wow. Like anything with sports, like when it ends, it always ends suddenly. And more people than not, it ends with a loss. You don't quite go out on top the way you wanted to. Even professional sports, like, look, you're in the Super Bowl, right? And 5 seconds, in the past, you were right in the middle of the game, a chance to win it. And as soon as, New England intercepts Russell Wilson, like, you're getting pushed off the field. Like, hey, get behind the tape. You're like, wow, I was just in the game. Well, no, your season is over. You are no longer relevant to what's happening right now. That has to be a terrible, terrible feeling to think that, man, I'm about to come up through the portal and you just never touch the field again.
Yeah, and the issue is I don't think they know it at that moment. Much like you gave that Russell Wilson Seattle scenario against the Patriots, there were people who played in that game, and not at that moment they didn't understand they were never going to play football again in the NFL. But if you look at those teams, those rosters, that applied to a multitude of people that was indeed their last game, and what they thought was, oh, we'll get them next year. Next year never came. The portal is that same kind of mechanism, Tolly. Just because you go in it doesn't mean you're going to land at a better spot. All for freedom of choice, freedom and opportunity, and that includes the freedom to make bad choices and have bad outcomes to opportunity. You have to make well thought out decisions, and you have to live by those results. Nothing is guaranteed in life. I think the portal can be very beneficiary, but I also think there are some who get into it with short-sighted on mind, and they end up getting hurt by it. But I don't know if we can create a system where we just have it where no one ever gets hurt physically, emotionally, or financially in football. For every yin, there's going to be a yang somewhere.
And a lot of these softer landing spots, if you will, like, worst case, I might go D2 or I might have to go NAIA or whatever. Like, a lot of these places are where high school kids are going, because what might have been an FBS or an FCS opportunity, when we were coming up, now you got grad students and portal kids taking those spots. So, like, really, like, there's not a lot of, if you don't have that thing lined up there, even what might be a soft landing spot, it can be occupied.
And I think that's the part of the portal that people don't discuss enough, Tolly, is the impact that it has on high school and guys going from high school to college on a scholarship. Back in the day when you got offered as a junior or early on as a senior, you could sit there and just kind of see what kind of other offers come in. But we're in a reality now that, and I'm sure Coach Carl Reed from the Big Boys would agree with me on this, you're in an opportunity space now when you get offered a scholarship, you may want to start taking those first and second ones that come, because they start to dry up when the portal opens up. You look at it this way: you may be the number 5 guard in high school football offensive line, and that's true. You know, you're a senior, you're in the top 5 in the nation. But when the portal opens up and guards who have playing experience get in, you went from top 5 to maybe top 30. And a scholarship that you thought was going to be there for you now got offered to one of those guys with some playing experience and some age on them. So these scholarships they expire faster now with the portal. Fewer and fewer are offered now through the portal because I mean through high school students because the portal allows coaches to keep winning and win now and not rebuild with freshmen and train them up. Because the truth is, much like the NBA, when you see guys get drafted and signed on a rookie deal, up by a team and a team gets them to that next level. And as soon as that rookie deal is over, they're a hot free agent now and they go somewhere else. It's the same thing with the portal in college football. If I do take a high school guy and he doesn't play immediately and I get him coached up and he has a very good sophomore season, his first plan, next thing you know, he's left me. And all the time and resources I invested into him, he's gone because, you know, he only got to play 1 year and he wants to go to a bigger program. So the risk reward of this thing cuts a lot of different ways. But I will say what's not discussed enough is the impact the portal has on high school juniors and seniors and when they should take scholarship offers or not.
Yeah, and even at the some of the lower levels, not the Power Four, mid-major, especially like basketball, like they're becoming like JUCO programs or extended high school. I cover HBCUs a lot, obviously at HBCU game day. Man, you come play in the MEAC, play in the SWAC, have a good year. It's a payday at another school, and you're gone. And I have some friends who are coaches, and they're like, man, we have to be as general managers now as much as we do coaches. So it has definitely impacted vertically up and down the line, no matter where you fall from high school to college, for sure. So it's an interesting conversation. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. The transfer portal in college athletics. You are watching the Pregame Show Network. I'm Tolly Carr. He is Uncle Neely. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Don't forget you are subscribed. I know. Make sure, check. Sometimes you think you're subscribed and, that thing just gets disconnected. It's like the light bill, man. It'll get disconnected every once in a while. So make sure that you get your notifications. Check us out, thepregameshow.com. We're always here for you with fresh content all year long.